Benjamin Dixon Show is only possible with listener support. Go to www.thebenjamindixonshow.com to register for our blog and join the Progressive Army.
Welcome to the Benjamin Dixon Show. I am your host, Benjamin Dixon. Today is Tuesday, December 24th, 2019. I'm laughing because this is my third take. This is my third try at trying to record an opening to today's show. I failed every single time. It's early in the morning and I have nothing to talk about. Obviously, it's going to be a good show because that's what we do. But I'm struggling to get the show started. There will be no show tomorrow. I think I need the day off. I think that's going to be great. Make sure that you take the day off from some politics. Politics will aid you. I have more grays now than I've ever had. Obviously, it's because I'm getting older, but also because I'm entrenched in this political game. And every morning I wake up, there's a whole new batch of grays, particularly because I'm allergic to stupid. And politics is so inundated with stupidity. And my job is to weed through all of that stupidity to try to show you what's going on and how we can maneuver around it. And it's taking its toll on me. So we need tomorrow, the day off. I spend it with friends and family. If you don't have friends, if you don't have family, come hang out with me on Twitter. I'll be on Twitter sometime tomorrow, having a good time. Trying not to talk about politics, but obviously and clearly, something political is going to go down tomorrow. That said, something stupid that is really bothering me right now. I'm seeing more and more influencers, more and more journalists, people who are trying to make Joe Biden happen. And trying to make him happen as a result of the black community, but that less so the polling, particularly like in South Carolina, less so the fact that older black boomers are sticking with Joe Biden. And I don't want to talk about that so much, just in general, how utterly irresponsible it is to be willing to put Joe Biden up against Donald Trump. Now, listen, don't get me wrong. I don't think highly of Donald Trump or his political capacity, him as an individual. But what you have to understand about the political landscape is that it's going to take a brawler, somebody who can go toe to toe with it's not Donald Trump's technique, as I discussed yesterday, the right across the globe, but particularly here in the United States, they organize around their bigotry. Without question. If you look at everything they stand for, it is a reaction to some group getting rights. It's either a reaction to Muslims practicing their faith in this country. There was a video yesterday that's gone viral of this white woman in New York who's looking all shocked and amazed because she's hearing the daily prayer call. And then everyone that's in the comment section is like, oh, how dare they, whoever allowed this to happen in our country should be ashamed of themselves. Well, listen, you dumb, fatuous, ignorant bigot. The damn Constitution of the United States of America gave them the right to do that. But anyway, I digress. They organize around their bigotry. It does not require any level of sophistication or brilliance to implement. Okay? So when I say Donald Trump, when I get ready to tell you that Donald Trump is at the top of his game, it's not a flattering statement because it doesn't take a lot to be on top of your bigotry game. Bigotry is the easiest grift in the history of mankind. Period. But Donald Trump excels in that because he's moronic enough to just say anything and everything. And we're at a juncture in American history where they have been longing and waiting for him. And unless you are ready to brawl with that level of ignorance and bigotry, you will not win. Joe Biden is not prepared for the level of just sheer brutishness that Donald Trump is going to bring. Now, this is not to say that all the other candidates are. No. This is not to say that someone like Bernie Sanders is such a bare knuckle brawler that he's going to get in the mud with Donald Trump. No, this is to say that you have to freaking stand for something. You have to stand for something that galvanizes a mass movement. Because this is how it's going to play out with Joe Biden. Joe Biden is going to try to make Donald Trump look like a bigot. Well, guess what? Everybody knows that. Everybody. Donald Trump knows that. His supporters know that. That's why they love him. Liberals know that. Progressives know that. But that doesn't change. That doesn't change the dynamics. That doesn't change the equation. That doesn't shake anything up. Okay? So it has no effect. And that is the power of Donald Trump's, that's the brilliance of Donald Trump's bigotry. Keep in mind, bigotry does not require any level of actual brilliance. It simply requires someone willing to engage in it. And Donald Trump, what makes Donald Trump so difficult to beat is the fact that he recklessly embraces it. He has with complete reckless abandonment, he embraces the bigotry. And therefore, there's no amount of calling him a racist or a bigot that's going to stick or change the paradigm. So if that's what Joe Biden is going to bring, he's going to lose. Here's the other thing. Joe Biden's going to say, let's go back to the way things were. Let's go back. We can get back. Let's work with our Republican allies. Republicans have shown that they would rather burn this country to the ground than to work with Democrats. So what is that going to do? Republicans are going to laugh at you. They're going to stay organized. They are not going to break ranks. They are going to stick with it. And you're going to demoralize the people, the Democrats, the progressives, the liberals who have been in the trenches for the last 4 years fighting, or even longer, fighting tooth and nail against hell. This is what's so disingenuous about it, is because Joe Biden knows above anybody else how intransigent the Republicans can be. But obviously, Joe Biden is working under the assumption that he can bring something to the table that Barack Obama didn't. The only thing he can bring to the table that Barack Obama didn't is his whiteness. But Republicans have shown that they don't care about that either. They're not going to work with Joe Biden just because he's white. They're certainly not going to work with him because he appeals to some sense of bipartisanship. So all that positioning, all that, can't we all just get along? Let's go back to the way things were. Let's do better than we did. Let's go back to before Trump. All that's going to do is make Republicans laugh and demoralize your base. And the result, Joe Biden is going to lose. Joe Biden doesn't have any policies that he actually stands for or that he's fighting for. If he did, he could hold the line during the debates. But because he doesn't have anything that he's fighting for, that he's going to give us nothing but empty platitudes, and Donald Trump is going to see through that and call him out on that. If there's anything Donald Trump is talented at doing, it is exposing your weakness. That is Donald Trump's real talent, to expose your weakness. And when you don't stand for anything, someone who stands for bigotry actually looks like they have something to offer. When you don't stand for anything, like Pete Buttigieg, this is why Pete Buttigieg would not stand a chance, because he doesn't actually stand for anything. All the platitudes of like, let's go back. No, there is no going back. There's only plowing forward and plowing through to a new era of politics. Donald Trump is extremely talented at exposing people who have nothing, who stand for nothing, who are hypocritical, and he would do it in the face of his own hypocrisy, and everybody knows that. So please tell me what Joe Biden brings to the table that people actually think makes him equipped to fight against Donald Trump, when Donald Trump is literally, Donald Trump is completely inoculated from any sense of civility, any sense of decorum, any sense of conformity to this establishment. And Joe Biden is nothing more than an establishment player. So y'all got to stop playing around, man. Listen, Joe Biden is going to lose. And all these influencers and journalists who are trying to usher you over to Joe Biden, and all these older people who just trust him because he worked with Barack Obama, they don't realize they're getting ready to give Donald Trump 4 more years. I mean, that's ball game. That's the future of our country.
Go to www.patreon.com/The BPD Show and support The Benjamin Dixon Show.
I'm lonely, so lonely. There are no new patrons today, but whatever. Come on. We're still gonna party. Listen, it is Christmas Eve, and the fact that I got patrons at all this week, respect. Love you guys. So special shout out to you, the individual listening, whether you are a patron or not, whether you're a new patron, whether you're an old patron, whether you're just a subscriber, this party is for you. Come on. You just so long as you're dancing in the car, wherever you are, just bob your head just a little bit. All right, let's move on. So in response to Christianity Today, the magazine that I've been covering, that put out an editorial saying that Donald Trump should be removed. In response to that, you had an organization called the Christian Post, a magazine, the Christian Post, who decided to publish an editorial saying that they stand with Donald Trump. That basically says that they're on Team Trump. Yesterday, I talked about the 200 pastors. So it was like a 200 to 1 ratio. I don't have a whole lot of commentary that I haven't said already. I just wanted to bring that to your attention. And there's a gentleman by the name of Nap Nasworth. What's a hell of a name, brother. Nap Nasworth. And this is what he said on Twitter. He left the organization. He said, quote, "Today, rather abruptly, I was forced to make the difficult choice to leave the Christian Post. They decided to publish an editorial that positions them on Team Trump. I can't be an editor for a publication with that editorial voice. I'm saddened by what happened for many reasons. I've been at the Christian Post for over 8.5 years, made many friendships, and had lots of exciting opportunities along the way. As long as I was with the company, they strived to be a place that represented the diversity of evangelicalism." Strike one there, guy. But he said, yeah. So as long as I was with the company, they strived to be a place that represented the diversity of evangelicalism in the United States. I even wrote about this diversity in the last published article I wrote Sunday. When the editors had disagreements, we would work through them, blah, blah, blah. They'd chosen to represent a narrow and shrinking slice of Christianity. That might be a good business decision for the short term, at least, but it's bad for democracy and bad for the gospel. It means that there would be one more place where readers can go for bias confirmation, but one less place where readers can go to exercise their brains on diversity of thought. Well, yeah, I feel you, man. I feel your pain. I still stand on this. I would like for there to have been more of a resistance from evangelicals, but I'm fully aware that that's just wishful thinking, right? Yesterday, I stumbled into a phrase that I think I'm going to keep repeating. The evangelicals who support Donald Trump. And it's got nothing to do with just our differences of opinion on politics. We could disagree on abortion. We could disagree on gay marriage. We could disagree on those things. That doesn't mean that we're going to get along. I'm not saying we're going to disagree and get along. I'm saying I can't force you to agree with me. So it's not about a difference of opinions on politics. It's about the fact that you sit your theology squarely in the seat of oppression, right? Of the joyful oppression, where the cruelty is the point. People who have aligned their faith with that, they are the direct descendants, the theological descendants of the Crusaders, who brutally killed millions in the name of God, but in actuality, it was in the name of spreading their empire. They are the direct theological descendants of those people who use religion to justify slavery, Jim Crow, lynchings. That's who they are. So to expect anything more from them is wishful thinking. Now, I'm not above wishful thinking. I'm prone to being idealistic. I dream and hope for us to be better than who we are. But I'm also very sober and not surprised. Doesn't mean I can't be disappointed.
But I think in the end, once Biden begins to fade, it's going to be Brother Bernie headed toward the nomination. And then we've got Bernie Sanders and Donald Trump, and we get a chance to make a historic choice. High quality, moral sensibility, low quality, deep gangster proclivity. That's Brother Trump right there.
No explanation needed. But to be sure, you certainly cannot put Joe Biden up against Donald Trump's gangster proclivity. I'm keeping an eye out on Barbara Lee, Congresswoman Barbara Lee. Now, she originally endorsed Kamala Harris really early on, super early on. But Kamala is out the race. And so the question is, where's she going to go now? And I just want you to listen to this morning I woke up to a tweet from her saying, abolish ICE. I'm like, huh? Yeah, word? Okay, I'm with it. Abolish ICE. We're with that. Yesterday afternoon, this is what she said. She said, don't let this circus of a White House distract you from what we're fighting for. A living wage, affordable housing, free education, and quality health care for all. For all. And so to me, I mean, that could very well mean she's going with Elizabeth Warren, which is, certainly better than going with Pete Buttigieg or Joe Biden, for the love of God. But the abolish ICE part, I don't think you're going to find that in Elizabeth Warren's platform. So it sounds like she's leaning more towards Bernie Sanders more than anything else.
And all of those candidates who say, we don't need bold ideas, you don't have to energize young people or working people. Let's just do it the way we have done it for 50 years. Well, you do it that way, you're not going to have the kind of turnout that you need in order to defeat Trump. The way you get a turnout is you speak truth to power. The way you get a turnout is when millions of people who right now, they're sitting home and they say, who cares about me? Who cares about the fact that I'm making 10, 11 bucks an hour, can't afford to take care of my family? Who cares that I'm spending 50% of my income on housing? Who cares that I can't go to the doctor when I'm sick? Who cares that I can't afford childcare? Who cares that my kid is unable to go to college? Or maybe we'll leave school $50,000 or $100,000 in debt. Who cares? Who cares about me? And the answer is, we do care about the working families of this country.
I mean, to be quite honest with you, there are far more people who didn't vote than who did. In almost every election, that's the case. When you talk to people, they don't think they don't think it matters. The saddest part about all of the millions of people who think that this doesn't matter, those are the exact people who can show that, whose vote can show us how much their participation matters. In other words, they don't even realize their own power. We have the numbers, we have the ability, we have the capacity to demand from this system exactly what we want. This system can be exactly what we believe it should be. We can shape it. We have the numbers. And the only way they can stop us is by suspending democracy. But short of suspending democracy, there's nothing that they can do to stop us if we realized how many of us there are. And I'm sorry, you're not going to get it. the previous 40 years, the last 40 years of Democratic control, Democratic establishment control of the left. There hasn't been Democratic establishment control of the country over the last 40 years, but the Democrats that have been in control over the left end of the equation, not just here in the United States for that matter, across the globe, has been an abject failure and has led to millions of people just feeling like, well, this is the way it is and there's nothing we can do about it, so my vote doesn't count. And that is exactly how the powerful stay in power, how the rich keep getting richer, because the people with the real power, the millions of us who are struggling, the millions of us who are living paycheck to paycheck, the millions of us who are struggling with healthcare costs. If we ever realized the power that we had at our disposal, we would never question whether or not our vote mattered. We'd only question why it took us so long to demand out of the system everything we believe we deserve. That's all for today. Have a wonderful day off. Have a wonderful Festivus. Happy Hanukkah to my Jewish friends. Merry Christmas to all of my Christian friends and those who just celebrated. And for everyone else, have a great day off. Let's see, tomorrow's Wednesday. Thursday's the day after. I think Thursday or Friday, maybe Friday. I think at least by Friday, I'll have a show back up. So until then, take some time off and enjoy your friends, your family. And if you don't have either, come hang out with me on Twitter. I'll see you next time, everybody. Take care.
The Benjamin Dixon Show is only possible with listener support. Go to www.patreon.com/The BPD Show and support The Benjamin Dixon Show. If you like this episode, be sure to share, like, and subscribe.